Evening, everyone.
Hello. How is everyone today? Not many in chat at the moment. I noticed one of our other creators is going. They all go live at the same time as us on a Saturday, so
That's
you
all
might
right.
be watching afterwards.
Yeah,
Which is cool.
but I hope you're all having. Yeah, hope everyone's had a good week.
Yeah. Oh no, well we've got the Easter holiday starting now. Oh god. Started already, so just got to try and find ways to keep the kids occupied.
Jen, I can hear feedback.
I mean, right, I'll turn my mic down. Just give me a second. Yes. It's probably the kids as well.
No, I can hear myself talking.
Well, that's the speaker. I've turned down.
I can still hear it.
Oh no. Is anyone else in chat? Can they hear us at the moment?
I can hear it twice for some reason.
Have you got any other devices on in the background?
No.
I've got my TV on. I'm quite normal.
I can sort of hear it. Pick it up. Is that mic's quite strong? I can't hear Jenny. No. Right. Let's see if that's what. Right, got 6 in. Can you hear us all right? Is there any feedback on your end?
I can hear you two fine. There's no feedback here apart from the kids.
I could just hear myself twice.
Have you got your headphones on?
Yeah.
Oh no. It's just started since we've gone live.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I know what it is. Right. Try now.
Yeah. So I can hear you like normal.
No, it's better now. For some reason, it was playing in the background.
Oh. What was it?
It was playing because I've got YouTube open. It was playing on there as well.
Oh, what?
I didn't even know it had opened.
Yeah, that'll be it, won't it? Yeah, I think we had backgrounds once when I had was playing on me tally in the background, so that caused loads of bad feedback for us, didn't it? It's like, oops.
Oh, I literally cannot stand hearing myself, so that was like off-putting. So yeah, we've been.
So how is everyone? We've got Chris Caldwell in the chat earlier on, and we've got Jackie Taylor. Hello.
Evening, Jackie. Hope you're all right. Hi, 14.
Oh, as well.
How's all your weeks been? Hopefully it's been good. We had a bit of a nice weather day on Wednesday, didn't we? And then it's come back to rain.
It's always the same this time of year, isn't it? You'll have a nice day followed by a crappy day.
Yeah. But yeah, we've been looking into this funeral home a little bit.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation last night with someone that works in the funeral home and got some information from them. So that was quite interesting. Like just to find out what their procedures are and things like that. So we could go through that.
Hey, Funky.
Hi, Funky.
Oh, that'll be interesting to find out from the perspective of somebody who's actually worked in a funeral home and finds out what actually happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, 14. We had hailstones today. I woke up to real bad hailstones. I was like, what's going on? But yeah,
This time of year is so weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember one time, it was this year when we had like a massive downpour of snow, and it was this time of year, just before Easter. I was going to go and hide the Easter eggs in the snow, and then and then other years it's been boiling. You know, I remember when my daughter was born and she was a baby, and that year I remember sort of putting a paddling pool out and sitting in the garden with her with a baby, like just put hot water in the paddling pool, but give her a bathe outside in there.
Yeah, sometimes it can be really hot in March, but so our wedding anniversary is coming up at the end of this month. And when we got married, we had the hottest day. It was near on there. Do you remember my face? Yeah, Joe was red as anything in the photos. But yeah, it's about 30 degrees, near enough.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like, just I think it depends on what type of winter we've had as well, because we haven't had a lot of snow this winter or really, really cold weather.
No.
You know, compared to other years. And then this year's just been weird, just full stop.
Yeah. So just working out, I could go through the timeline of the funeral home. Oh,
that would be good. Yeah. So we do our disclaimer first of all, because that's like really important. I think we need to give you a trigger warning on this as well, because what we're about to discuss isn't the nicest thing to talk about. Believe you me, researching it was not pleasant, but it's something that I feel is really, really important. So I'll read out our disclosure as well. We're a typical discussion channel, and all discussions are for entertainment purposes only, and the opinions expressed from the hosts and guests are only personal experiences and based on research they may have conducted. However, they are simply personal opinions and should be treated as such. And we hope that you all like our channel and feel free to comment on our videos, and your support is greatly appreciated. But it's very macabre, Jackie. I think it's probably the most macabre thing that we've done.
Yeah.
It's
so
really...
on the evening of the 6th of March, sorry, it was a Wednesday, Humberside Police received reports relating to the storage and processing of deceased at Legacy Independent Funeral Directors. Then on the 7th of March, they searched all 3 branches and found horrific scenes, and all 3 branches were cordoned off. I didn't know there was 3 until I searched this. On the 8th of March, the deceased started to be respectfully removed until later on in the evening. Saturday, 9th of March, police spent the day again respectively removing deceased loved ones. On the 10th of March, police arrested a 46-year-old male and a 23-year-old female for threatening the law and decent burial, fraud by false representation, and fraud by abuse of position. They revealed that 34 deceased people were discovered at the site, and a dedicated hotline was set up for families that refused this company. Hi, Mrs. KP. On 12th of March, the police held a press conference and confirmed they had removed 35 bodies and a quantity of ashes. Both people that were arrested were released on bail with conditions pending further investigation. The police are continuing to work at the Hessel Road branch Beverley branch has had all its branding relating to the funeral directors removed from the premises. And Annalby Road front door has been wooden boarded up and at the front door, and hanging baskets all been knocked on the floor.
I think that's by angry people.
Yeah. And it's also been advised that anyone that has brought a funeral plan with Legacy to check their booklets and contact the insurance company that's named in their booklet to make sure they exist, because we've seen that some funerals have been fully paid for, then they've received all the paperwork, but since checked and the policy was never taken out or paid for.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's right. It was father and daughter. So yeah, so it's bigger than what. So they've also been like taking out insurances, so you can pay for the funeral plan. So anyone obviously that believes that their funeral is sorted for when they do pass away have now found out they haven't even got that.
Yeah, because there's a number of ways that people can like pay ahead for a funeral. I was looking into this a little bit. I used to sell some policies when I worked for the bank. We had an end of life policy which people would pay to the bank, and it would basically pay for the funeral. So you've got end of life funeral insurance pays. You've also got life insurance which can pay as well. But everyone has got a human right to a funeral, and whether it be a burial, cremation, sea burial, green burial, which is biodegradable, no matter what their social status is, rich or poor, everyone has a right to be treated respectfully upon death. And if a person passes away and they don't have either the funds or the family to pay for a funeral, the state or the local council, they're required to pay and put the person to rest. And this is known as a public health funeral. This may only pay for burial or the cremation. It might not pay for the funeral service, sadly. In the majority of cases, though, a funeral will be arranged by the loved ones and friends, and it'll be paid for via a policy, which the person's taken out and paid for while they're alive, or from anything that, valuable things that the person's owned within their life, and it goes to probate. And funeral homes are often contacted as undertakers to make the arrangements for dressing the deceased, providing a coffin, transport, the burial or cremation service, and then also providing the ashes to the family after the cremation.
Yeah, I had a look on their website, just some of the price lists. So they've got different packages. The Maple, this is prices from £970. Okay, the Maple is this is a simple funeral package. This includes our intercare service, a simple coffin for cremation, all administration and documentation for cremation, an unattended direct cremation at the crematorium. And this so this may not be in the whole area, so that can go anywhere. And ashes available for collection in a simple ashes container is supplied. The Oak, and this is prices from £1,799. The Oak is our newest funeral package. This includes our intercare service, a traditional coffin for cremation, all administration and documentation for cremation, an attended funeral service held at our very own service chapel, within our Hessel Road branch, an unattended cremation at the crematorium. And again, this may not be in the whole area, and ashes available for collection in a simple ashes container. Cedar. The Cedar is their traditional funeral package. This includes our intercare service, a traditional coffin. A range of coffins are available at additional costs, suitable for cremation or burial. All administration and documentation for cremation. I'm repeating myself a lot here. Or burial. An attended service at the cremation chapel or church. Church services and burials usually incur extra charge, followed by a cremation or interment as ashes available for collection. Either a simple ashes container is supplied, or other urns and ashes caskets are available at additional costs. The Asia is the prestige funeral package. This includes intercare service, a range of Acacia. You've lost me now. A range of exclusive luxury handcrafted coffins and caskets available. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
All administration and documentations for cremation or burial. Transportation in the finest vehicles. They can supply fleets of Rolls-Royce, limousines and hearses to an attended service at any crematorium or church or other venues. Church services and exclusive venues usually incur extra charges, followed by the cremation or interment and ashes available for collection. A range of exclusive urns and ashes caskets are also available. And that price for that one is £4,999.
Bloody hell.
So the cheapest is £970.
That's just shy of £1,000, isn't it? And then going up to nearly £5,000, isn't it?
So it goes from 970, 1,799, 2,799, and then 4,999.
So I think all their ponds look like they're named after trees, aren't they?
Yeah.
Looks like. But they seem quite standard, really, from what I know, like round here and everything. Whenever we've had to organise anything, usually people do want the transport, don't they? To get them around, because it's like a kind of like final memory of that person, isn't it? And then also it helps logistics with getting people there, and then usually on to wherever the wake is afterwards, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it's people have received ashes thought to be a loved one, but the bodies remained at the funeral home. And the thing is, if there's ashes of people that if they've received ashes of someone and the person, their loved one's still at the funeral home, they will never be able to find out who these ashes are, who they belong to.
No, that's and also the ashes that they've got belong to someone else as well. So that's like two people, isn't it, really, who've got the wrong stuff?
Yeah.
It's shocking. I'm just reading through the comments because two people have been arrested. They've been arrested for depriving prevention of a lawful and decent burial, fraud by false representation, fraud by abuse of position. Those are the charges that they're on. They're both out on bail. I'm not sure if they're related, but they've both got the same surname. I'm not sure if it's father and daughter or.
Yeah, it is father and daughter. I read that earlier.
then we've also got MP from Hull West in Hessel, Emma Hardy. She's spoke for many constituents, and she said she's now calling for the process of bringing funeral directors under a regulatory system to being without any delay. The Deputy Chief Constable, David Marshall, says we are continuing to support the families throughout this extremely difficult and distressing time. So the police are obviously doing further investigations, but the issue is this is just one of how many?
Yeah.
How many more are doing the same?
When we interviewed the person that worked in the funeral home, they said that no auditing is done. So there isn't any auditing to prevent things like this happening, which is worrying when, you know, you are putting so much trust into these funeral homes and companies to look after your loved ones.
Does the company he worked for, do they actually have an incinerator on site as well? Where do they take care of the whole lot, or do they send that off elsewhere?
Yeah, no, they have theirs all on site. Obviously, some funeral companies, they don't have that facility. So there's some funeral homes, they obviously don't have like the fridges either, but they will rent a storage unit which is specialized for funeral homes, so the bodies will be kept there rather than at the funeral home themselves. So obviously they would have to go and collect it from the storage unit and then take it back to the funeral home when it's the funeral.
So why does he think that funeral homes might not be getting rid of the bodies? I don't know why would they keep on to them? Did he say that?
Well, you know, like obviously when you see something like this and you think, oh, it's to save money. Okay, so if you still have got a burial, funeral where the deceased is being buried, they still have to bury the coffin. Okay, so the coffin and the whole funeral and the burial, you're not saving no money on that. So with that, he couldn't quite work that out. But he did say it's so easy to use a body to sell the organs for money.
So it could be
no auditing. Yeah, so because there's no auditing going on, that could be the potential reason why they're doing that. And then obviously once they've sold these organs on, then they just cremate the rest of the body. I'm so sorry.
There are people who actually voluntarily opt for organ donation. I know on my driving license, I've opted to say, like, if I'm in a car crash, for instance, and say I'm brain dead and you know, I'm never gonna be back to myself. I'm never gonna live you know, without you know, being supported medically. They take me off life support, but say my heart and my lungs and organs, they were all in really good working order. I've clicked boxes to say that I would like my organs to be donated to help somebody else who wouldn't have a life. You know, if they're, you know, needing new kidneys, for instance, if they want, my kidneys would be of use to theirs, and you know, I'm happy for that to happen, and I've discussed it with my family as well, who all understand that's my choice. And obviously, they you know, they harvest your organs and then they'll sew you back up again, and then that's when you would have your burial or I'm not conventional. I don't want a burial as in like normal people have as well. I want the green one where I just want to have a biodegradable casket and it to be buried, and I want them to plant a tree on top of it as well, and that'd be the way of people remembering me, to go and visit a tree.
Yeah, no, it sounds nice.
I just thought it's better than the thought of me being cremated. I don't like that thought, and or just a normal burial as well, which I think I just want to put back something back in where as a last little gesture, really, isn't it, back into the environment.
No, definitely.
It's only my opinion. I'm not asking everyone to share my opinion. But it's something I have thought about, obviously, because I lost my partner and that was unexpected. And I thought, what if that happens to me? What was I want? And I've told my kids about it, my mum and my parents, and hopefully, my mum and dad won't be around to see that day, but maybe my kids will, and they'll know that that's what I want, and it should also hopefully work out a bit cheaper as well to have it done that way.
Yeah, it
hopefully.
Is absolutely heart destroying, Funky. You're right. I just can't even begin to get into their heads of why they was doing it.
If that was someone I loved, I would be absolutely fuming. I was looking at obviously the crime that they've been arrested for is the prevention of lawful and decent burial. Now, when you look at that crime, there's very little that you can find about it. It is so unusual. It's usually linked to people who've done murders and they've tried to hide a body. A bit like Ian Brady's body, where he's not been able to have a proper burial and stuff like that. So it's usually linked in with a murder, and then the person's gone and disposed of the body. And but as a standalone offence, very, very rare. But is it rare? Really?
Yeah.
It's not regulated. It's not been regulated by anywhere, any time. It's only there is an organisation, they're called the National Association of Funeral Directors, or NAFD, and they were established in 1905. Now they're not regulatory company. They're more of a representative for funeral directors. And then there's another one, which is the National Society of Allied and Independent Funeral Directors, and that's SAIF, and they're similar as well. So they're not regulated, but they enforce quality standards. So they make sure that undertakers get advice, advocacy, education and support, and trying to ensure that their funeral homes meet the highest professional standards. But membership is not compulsory, and nor does the organisation regulate or monitor its members' care or conduct. So, and if they say there's a breach of contracts in a funeral home, breaches such as failing to provide the agreed upon service or mishandling of the deceased remains, resulting in emotional distress for the family, they would normally the family would normally go and sue for damages.
Yeah.
It's not actually,
Jackie. I think that's obviously where they've been taking money and not fulfilling the contract. And the same with the insurance as well.
But weirdly enough, anyone that wants to complain about it, if you want to complain, you would actually go to the Financial Conduct Authority. So they do a lot of banking issues, or mobile phone companies, or anyone that you pay, and it's due to the paid policies such as end of life and funeral plans that are taken out. That's how people would normally complain by the FCA. And then if a person passes away untimely or unexpectedly, they might not have any life insurance policies, or they might not have paid for the funeral. So any assets would be sold, and it'd be the next of kin or executor of the will that would make the funeral arrangements. But they might pay for the service via credit cards. And again, if they're still entering a contract with that funeral home. So any breaches in contracts, again, would be dealt with by the FCA, sorry. About any complaints in service, because it's the financial side of things, it's the breach in contracts. But it goes further than this, doesn't it, really? It's not just a breach of financial contract. This is a human right to, your loved one deserves to have, be put at rest in a peaceful and respectful manner. And that's just not happening.
No. What did surprise me, that how they thought they would get away with this. All the bodies are actually kept in fridges, and the fridges are 3 degrees Celsius. So they're not actually kept in freezers. And the bodies can stay in a funeral home in the fridge from 3 days up to just over a week. If it's longer than a week, the body will then be moved to a refrigerated unit off-site due to obviously the smell. Because it obviously, even though they're in a fridge of 3 degrees Celsius, they're still obviously they're still going to start decomposing. Obviously, yeah, each funeral home is different, but a lot of funeral homes, if they're storing deceased people on site, they will probably do that.
Yeah, they're not going to freeze the bodies to below freezing temperature, because obviously that is going to have implications if they come to putting the body through the incinerators like afterwards, isn't it? Which is horrible to think of. But it's crazy. It's just the amount of greed that goes into someone like this to do this.
Yeah,
there's a place in hell, as far as I'm concerned, for these people who are just utilizing people's death and to make money. And I bet you they've got a great lifestyle.
More than likely. We also have seen reports of them finding loved ones there that had already apparently had the funeral and burial. So we asked this person that if you're carrying a coffin to a burial, would you be able to notice if the coffin was empty? And obviously it all depends on the type of coffin that you get. So like obviously some people just have a coffin which is like a cardboard box. So with that you would be able to tell the difference in the weight. But the traditional coffins nowadays, they're so heavy within themselves that if you're meant to have like an average size person inside, you wouldn't notice the difference.
Oh, wow.
So that was quite distressing to hear.
Yeah. That's it. So there's no way of knowing, you know, I remember my grandma passed away last year, and I was talking to my cousin and my uncle, who were the pallbearers, and they were talking about the weight, you know, and it was, you know, it weighed a lot, you know, and, you know, bless me Nana, you know, she didn't weigh that much, you know, they were really surprised by how much it weighed.
Yeah. Jackie, I mean, what were they planning to do with these bodies exactly? No one can answer that apart from them. You know, at the moment, it can only be guessing game of what they wanted to do. But the fact that people were starting to notice the smell or start to question things, to contact the police, it makes you wonder how long this had been going on.
Yeah. So any comments from the funeral directors and embalmers regarding white fibrous clots? I don't think they've made any comments.
Not about white fibrous clots, no.
I know there's certain illnesses that can only be carried by people who've passed away. You know, it's horrible to think as well. You know, in terms of unregulated organ donation as well. You know, if this is being done on the black market, there could be these illnesses that are only contracted by bodies that are deceased that, you know, might be present in organs which are unofficially being put out, you know, into the organ donation circuits. Because they usually have like very, very, very specific time frames in which, you know, conditions and treatments. You know, when there's a you know, a normal legal or organ donation, that would usually happen. You know, the body would need to be kept under certain conditions. It might need to be kept on life support until it's harvested, and then it would be treated with certain chemicals and then placed on ice and then taken to the recipient's hospital, and then that transplant or operation would go ahead, wouldn't it, as well?
Yeah.
It's all going on the black market, and they're getting extra money from doing it that way. But I think that the family, the two that are arrested, if they've got anything about them, they better blow and speak now and tell people what actually happens.
Yeah. Jackie said, according to another funeral director, the fees for cremations are at 1K, obviously, which weren't paying.
Yeah, that's. I think. Well, I don't know, because it's like the cheapest policy there was like 900 odd, but then they might get like a bit of help from the council potentially. You know, if it's a person that's maybe just having a crematorium only, without a service, it might work out to be about a bit cheaper. Nowadays you could have like just the cremation or the burial without the actual service to bring down the prices. Some people don't want a service, do they, as well?
No. It makes you wonder if, you know, was they doing it to them?
It could be. They're the most likely ones, because it won't get noticed as freely, was it?
No. But still, it's just absolutely crazy.
it's mind-boggling, isn't it? But I agree with the MP, this Emma Hardy, who is fighting for the industry to be regulated, because it really needs to be regulated. They need to be doing spot checks on these companies, even the organisations that I spoke of. They're in favour of the industry being regulated, because if you're not doing anything wrong, you've got nothing to hide. But they probably know within their own circuits that shit's going on, there's stuff happening and it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Obviously each of the body has an identity attached to them discreetly, so that may be why the police have managed to identify some of the deceased that are still there. They have obviously contracts with hospitals, with the hospice as well, and when they go to collect the deceased, they are identified when they're collected and checked again before placing them into the fridge. All the paperwork is completed when the deceased arrives at the funeral home and before they get put into the fridge. So everything has to be completed before all of that happens.
Yeah, a lot of the identities of the full bodies that were maybe kept in the fridge, and they might be able to extract DNA as well in order to identify them. How awful for the families to know that they've gone away and had their funeral already, and then they discover that actually no, that wasn't their loved one there.
Exactly.
And being put to rest. Oh,
Jackie, there should be unannounced inspections done by a regulatory body. It should be.
Agreed.
That should be done straight away, like all the time. It should be done. And I believe that this is probably the way forward from now on. We also know that once the body is cremated, it is not possible to identify them again. That's the worrying part, especially when they found a lot of ashes. They were recovered from the site. But yeah, I don't know what you lot make of this, but it's worrying. It is worrying to think that this has even been done. This is things it's always someone that ruins it for everyone, isn't there? And things like this, it makes you wonder, why has this not been picked up sooner? Why are they allowing funeral directors to do this without even checking them? But yeah, all these families now that have used them, the police did set up a hotline for anyone that have used Legacy, and they received so many calls.
1,500.
Yeah,
1,500.
Everyone that's used them now are now starting to wonder, well, has this happened to our family? Has this happened to our loved one? But yeah, he come out of hiding apparently the other week, and the paper managed to get a shot of him. And when asked him if he's got anything to say to the families that's been affected by this, he just said, I have nothing to say.
Oh. Well, I was reading about that crime again, in terms of preventing a person from having a lawful, funeral, and the punishment for that can range between life imprisonment and a fine, or both. But it's so unusual. That's the whole thing. There are literally a handful of cases where this crime is being applied where it's not been linked to a murder. I would say in view of the number of people affected by this and the effects, like impacts that it's had on the families, he should go down to jail. I think he should spend the rest of his life in jail if it's up to
Yeah,
me.
definitely. You know,
If I
he
was,
should not be allowed to walk the streets for now, for what he's done. He needs to, you know, justice definitely needs to be served for all of these families and now getting put through hell. Apparently on the day of the raid, there were people awaiting arrival of their loved ones to their home. Oh, that must have been awful.
oh, so they were being raided, and then they were like had funerals that were planned for that day, and then they weren't happening.
Or there was the deceased was meant to arrive at the funeral home that day, and people were there waiting for him.
Oh my God.
Exactly,
It's
Jackie.
tragic. Yeah, Jill, throw away the key. Jackie, you're right. 100%. You know, at the end of the day, these people made the choice to do this. And I want to know the truth as to why they've done it. Is it because they are harvesting organs? Or is it other reasons? They owe all these people who have used their services, they're owed an explanation. And I just hope to God, you know, the people who are, you know, the police that are investigating can get them to talk and to shine
There
some light.
hasn't been any updates lately, though, has there?
If they get away with this, I'm seriously, you know, I'll be 100%, you know, backing this Emma Hardy, the MP, in getting a bill passed to get this industry regulated. It beggars belief that it hasn't been done so already. What are they playing at? This is they could be burying the wrong people, or they could be they could be criminals who are killing people, say, you know, under weird circumstances and switching places with them and stuff like that. There could be all sorts going on.
I just can't work out why. I really can't.
Because like in some traditions, I know, like in the Catholic tradition, they have a lot of open casket, like they might have an open casket a couple of days before the actual service, which is horrible. Like, you know, I've never seen one of those in person, but I've heard about them. But I suppose at least you know it's your loved one that's in there.
Yeah, no, exactly. Funky, a big shout out to all the other local funeral homes that stepped in to help all these people affected. No,
Yeah.
you know, that's what it needs. It needs that community to gather together to give these people the peace that they should be given.
Yeah, because
And
you know, there are some who do that job diligently, and they care about the customers, and that they realise the importance of the service that they give on that person's whole wider family and group of friends as well. And yeah, by them stepping in, it just goes to show that, you know, that there are some really good ones out there too. But
you can't tarnish everyone with the same brush, can you? You know, you can't think that all funeral homes are doing this, but it does highlight the fact that there needs to be checks done to prevent things like this happening.
Oh gosh. My thoughts just go out to the families who've been affected by this, because they must be going through hell. Because even if, say it's not recent, say you use their services, say 5 years ago, for instance, you'll be sitting there in the back of your mind now, you're going to be worrying, thinking, was that my gran? Was that my partner that was in that funeral? Because you're going to doubt it now, aren't you?
You are.
And you're going to have a jar of ashes, and you're like, do these belong to me loved one or not?
Yeah, it just sends a shiver down my spine.
It really bothered me when I heard about all what was going on. It's awful.
Yeah, people like that, they should have everything ripped away from them and should be in jail.
Yeah, definitely. It's just it's one of the oldest professions going, isn't it? You think about it, for the whole of humanity, we've all been born, and we're all born, and we all die. And we think nowadays we're all more sophisticated and everything, yet this type of thing's been allowed to happen.
Yeah, especially in this day and age when there's everything's about paperwork and the technology that we have nowadays.
Yeah, we've got DNA now. We're able to easily check the DNA of a person. Funky, do we think they might exhume some of the burial bodies? I think that might have been done, or that's part or plans.
They probably will do the ones that the funerals have already taken place and they found so if someone's believed to have been buried already and they found their deceased body at the funeral homes, then they will exhume them sites.
And then that I would expect that, because of the breach in confidence with that company, I would say go back as far as they can with it all, because over a number of years, just to double check for the family's confidence and well-being and peace of mind.
That's the thing. They've been running 10 years?
Yeah.
Oh no, 2010 they started, so they've been running longer.
14 years.
So
13 years.
Yeah, so if you think they started in 2010, how far are they going to have to go back? Or it'll be just like they do with the auditing, will they?
There'll be a case of like, when have they always been rogue, or did they start going rogue? What caused them to go rogue? Was it some financial issues that they were having as a company? But
this would be where the investigation would have to take them to find out when this started.
But there's a huge mistrust. Like a lot of the funding that they get, some of it comes from private individuals, some of it comes from the government, because where a person can't afford to pay for a burial or a cremation, then that money is they will receive a grant from the government to pay for it. So not only is it defrauding families, it's defrauding the government as well.
Yeah.
So by God,
G.I.
they better
just found something. They're not actually exhuming burials at the moment as part of their investigation. They're not doing it.
They might ask the families whether or not they want to, because maybe some families might say they don't need, well, they don't want Matt to go through that. They just know that their loved one has passed and they've gone now, and that's enough for them, type of thing. But that maybe consistent happens.
I think the ones that should have been already buried, I think they might obviously do that to make sure, to see whether the coffin is empty or whether they've put someone else in there.
Well, they could have put 2 people in the same one.
I just think this is going to be
people
bigger.
were in on it as well. I wonder how many people knew. Have they got any former employees that would tell all about what they experienced?
Yeah, it can't just be that, you know, they've got 3 branches. It can't just be them 2 there.
No, there's got to be more to it than that.
Jackie, hopefully they'll have a paper trail. Apparently Legacy have debts of 50k. Wow.
So they're doing this, and they've got debts as well.
Yeah, Amy, I agree. Someone will whistleblow soon.
Yeah. They're probably in the process. They still are in the process of investigating it all, and then once they've got hold of all the old staff members, they'll probably go in and speak to them all, find out what's actually happened. And speaking to families, finding out who they dealt with when they dealt with the funeral of their loved one as well, and maybe get a few names together.
They should be treated the same as any other company where money's involved. There should always be auditing taking place. It should always be checked. I think really it's been let down by it's not happening sooner.
Yeah, because when you think of it, even that these organisations who work on their behalf, the ones that I mentioned, they're in favour of it being a regulated service. They want it to be, because they know that there's good ones and bad ones, and they want it regulating, because they know fine well that if they were to do spot checks on certain funeral homes, they might pick up a few things.
No, exactly.
When you think Jimmy Savile used to he had the keys to a mortuary in some of the hospitals, didn't he? This whole industry needs regulating, from who has access to the mortuaries and hospitals. They should have CCTV cameras put up in mortuaries, in hospitals, and in the funeral homes. I think that would be probably the best way to do things, and have the CCTV controlled, not in the hands of the owner, but in the hands of an authority, the local council, for instance.
Yeah, I think the only thing with that, you're going to have the argument of people saying, but human rights and stuff like that, privacy and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know though. If it comes down to it, that they've been trusted and this sort of things happened, I think it can be done by specific people, but they need to be not have any conflicting interests with that funeral home. If that makes sense.
Exactly, yeah.
If it's just CCTV held by the funeral home, then it's like, oops a daisy, the CCTV didn't work that day and something's happened. No, that can't happen. So if it's done by a third party, such as like a local council, for instance, then at least say the CCTV does go down and they go, and it's picked up on by somebody else, and then they might arrange to go there in person and do some checks.
Yeah. Funky, some staff must have walked away not happy with what they have seen. I think there's going to be a lot of it. That's where all the investigation is probably at the moment, is they're probably having to interview staff that work there and like former staff as well.
Yeah, because if they've been in service like 3 different premises for like knocking on 13 years, there must have been a lot of staff gone through their hands.
But then even with what's happened, if you're working there, this can't be unseen by everyone that worked there. You know, they must have seen these bodies building up, and the fact that they've got identity tags on them.
Yeah, it's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe they've had separate freezers or fridges, and they've or switching tags, whoever's doing it, to make sure that they understand what's going on, but another member of staff might not notice.
Oh, it's crazy.
Although I'm sure they did. I'm sure they suspected.
Yeah. Amy, given what's happened here, human rights have gone right out the window. Yeah, I agree. You wouldn't even treat an animal like this.
Yeah, though you wouldn't know, would you? Because at the end of the day, when you have, one of your animals put to sleep, you would expect that the ashes that you got would be the correct ashes for your animal, your pet. And it's only fair to expect, more than fair to expect the same for your human relatives, isn't it?
Yeah. Jackie, it's definitely going to put spotlight on all the funeral directors now. Public trust needs to be restored. 100%. I totally agree.
These type of funeral homes are committing these crimes, what's stopping them maybe taking on extra victims of crime who maybe have been murdered and disposing of them? Who knows how far this really goes?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of places, not just funeral directors, but the trust has been broken with the public now in so many places.
Yeah, it's certainly like making people think, isn't it? And how can they get themselves 50 grand into debt? How, I'd really like to explore how that family who own those companies were living. Were they living a lavish lifestyle? Did they have the posh cars and big houses?
More than likely.
I
know he used to like motorbike racing.
Yeah, that can be quite dear, can't it?
Yeah.
Going on to
they cars for the funerals as well. Or did they grow too big, having 3 funeral director homes, having like 3 places? Was it too much for them?
Yeah, it's all food for thought, isn't it? Maybe it was too big for them to handle, but yeah, because a lot of the time, like smaller companies, SMEs get more grants and funding, and maybe they've grown too big to receive those. But
that's what I can't get my head around, Amy. You would think that they wouldn't be in that much debt, because people do die every day, and you always need.
We've had the C word going round, haven't we? And a lot of people passed away during that period, didn't they?
Yeah. And like you've seen the prices of the funeral packages, and that's only a few of them that I pulled up. There's loads. So it's it's not. They're getting a lot of money out of funerals, and the more extravagant that you want it, the more money it's going to cost.
Well, that these costs go on to people, clients who've got insurance companies which pay out for the costs. So, really, unless a person goes and they haven't, well, if they go when they're not expected to go, then there might be an issue. But then usually that attracts some government funding coming into play from the local council, so they get that stream of money. So I can't see how they're out of pocket either way.
Because it's not like they would do this without being paid. A lot of funerals are already prepaid for.
Yeah.
You have the life insurance, or you have the plans already put in place, which apparently they've been receiving this money but not taking out the insurance money claim. So they've not been paying for the insurers, but they've been still receiving the money from the clients that have taken out this plan. So where's that money gone?
Yeah, so that it'd be interesting to have a look really through the finances of these companies and really see where the money's going, and because it sure as hell isn't going back into the company. Because usually for a company to succeed, like for instance the cars that they have, they buy the car, it's used multiple times. They might have a fleet of cars. They have the ones for the family, and then they have the hearse, don't they, for the coffin to go in, and then usually, but that's a business expense, and they don't usually have to pay tax on things like that as well. It's like not like us buying one of those cars for leisure. That's a business vehicle.
Yeah, the insurance on that, because it's a business vehicle, will be higher.
Potentially, I don't know if it's that much more, to be honest with you, in view. But yeah, it might be a little bit more. But yeah, they have to pay public liability insurance for things like that, won't they?
Yeah.
But
you think if you've got a car,
not any more than what a taxi driver would get paying their insurance.
Yeah, but you've got to remember that they're transporting other people, they're transporting a coffin.
Yeah.
It's like if you say to your insurer when they ask you, what do you use your car for? Social or leisure, or if you're driving it to and fro work. If you're driving it to and fro work, the insurance a lot more higher. Not a lot, but it goes up.
Yeah, it goes up for if you physically, they usually say if you're going back to work using a car to commute to work, that's fine. But then if you go and say I'm using this car for work as part of my job, I don't know, say if you're a traveling salesperson, for instance, then yeah, it'll shoot up.
Yeah.
A lot of companies I worked for didn't expect us to use our own car. They either had a fleet of pool cars, or if you're in a more senior position, you got a company car. Years ago there was a lot of company cars. They seem to be not as much now, really. I think people tend to. I think the tax law changed and stuff.
Yeah. Amy, €10 per umbrella at my uncle's funeral in December.
Wow. Oh. Just to borrow an umbrella? That's crazy, isn't it?
That's the thing. It's how can you warrant charging someone an umbrella at a loved one's funeral? It's just.
And they do charge you for the use of the cars and everything as well. So that those cars are like, Rolls Royces and Mercedes and stuff like that they buy, and they're just used for their own purposes. And then what they would tend to do is keep on renewing them, because a lot of say if you go to Mercedes Benz and you're after a fleet deal, they would quite a lot of the time they have special offers on for corporate clients.
Amy, we're Irish and nuts. I don't think the English are far behind you.
Oh, I my granddad passed away in Ireland. I went to his funeral in Ireland, and that was because you have the month mind in Ireland, don't you, and everything as well. Like it is a bigger thing, I think, in Ireland than what it is over here at where I live now.
Yeah, people have been leaving reviews on their Facebook page. So these are the lowest of the low, vile people for what they have done to the families and community of Kingston upon Hull. You took advantage of vulnerable, grieving people over the people they love and the most they really miss in their lives. You were supposed to care for them and look after them, and you have broken their families' hearts forever, and you knew what you was doing, no doubt about it. But you went and did it anyway, and will now put families through distress and pain for years to come. Let's hope you get life for this, as their families won't ever forgive or forget their loved ones have been with you. The faults they have had to go through because of you, and all what you have both done together with your daughter went along with it, with you as well. As how far does this go back, and what has really happened?
Oh, well said there, isn't it? Oh, Amy, the Irish, an excuse for a session. Oh my God, I remember the the booze flowing. Definitely, it's I just remember the warmth and love that was going round as well, and just the pure respect over in Ireland as well. Like I'd come across and I met some family members that I hadn't even met before, and I was made so welcome. And then after the month mind, we all had a bit of a night out as well. So is any excuse for one. I had a few cheeky Guinnesses. It's lovely. It was so nice to see the family. I'm gonna go and see them when there's not a funeral. I think just go and catch up with the family. I'm sure we'll get on it then as well. But it's just tragic though, isn't it? That all these families are feeling like this now, that they just don't have the confidence.
They
There's
a lot of bad reviews on there now.
Oh, I just hope they go to jail for it. I really do, because there's no excuse, absolutely no excuse. I don't care how bad things get financially. There's a low level, isn't there? And this is it. This is the lowest level.
Yeah.
It's I find it really hard to talk about this. I'm not gonna lie. I really don't like it, because I've lost like too many people quite recently and everything. And I'm by the side of my bed, I've got my partner's, not all of the ashes, because they're with his mum, but I've got some, and I'm going to get it made into jewelry for my daughter. And imagine if that wasn't my partner's real ashes. I believe they are. But things like this, they make you question it. Imagine if it's just a bag of nothing. It's horrible. I'm finding it upsetting now. But,
I just can't. My heart goes out to all the families that have had to deal with this, and I can't even. It's the unimaginable of what they're going through right now.
And that's the families must be going through like an absolute hell, and this whole thing needs to get fully investigated. As far as I'm concerned, I think they need to, obviously with permission of the families. If a family says, I would like you to check the burial of my loved one and make sure it's them that are there, that, you know, I think they might have to go and do that, and it's going to be a big and really unpleasant job, but they're going to have to go and take some DNA samples or whatever they can in order to you know, put these family members at ease, because it's just vile what they're going through.
It is. Jackie, this is as bad as it gets. You couldn't get any lower. I have my nephew's ashes in a heart necklace. I wear it all the time.
Oh, Jackie, that's
lovely.
yeah. That's what I've got the ashes ready to do, make a necklace as well for my daughters and me.
Funky just looked at Company's House and looks. So all last 5 years they've been closed. Compulsory struck off. What? This legacy, Funky.
Yeah, I think I don't think they'll be trading anymore now, because there's obviously all this going on, and you know, that there could be any other companies that they were associated with in the past prior to 10 years. What did the people do before 10 years ago when they started this company? Did they have another company with a different name?
Yeah, it's a good thing to check up. Anyone else got anything to add to this before we move on?
It's so sad, isn't it? So
It
sad. Oh, if anyone from the family that are watching this now, just please know that I am absolutely devastated for you. I find it really upsetting. And I just hope that they get justice, and I hope they get, you know, just tell the police what you want them to do in terms of investigation. You know, if they're going to look into you know, burial sites and make sure that it is your loved one. You know, if that's what you want them to do, you push for it and make sure that they check it for you.
They've been registered for strike-off for the last 5 years.
For the last 5 years?
Wow.
That's just crazy. That is just...
So is this how long it's been going on for? Is this when it all first started? Yeah, love and prayers for all the families affected.
Yeah,
you know, we send all our love to them. It's just the unimaginable.
It's just beyond sick, though, isn't it? Really. It's
so,
just
Evelina's case, we have got a bit of an update.
Yeah.
We may have the inquest coming.
So we're working really hard, and we're just keeping everything crossed now. So if you can bring that across to you, that'll be fantastic. You know, I'm really excited to actually hear what was said in there, because there's not a lot of coverage of it whatsoever, is there?
No, so hopefully we will have a bit of insight into that and some more answers. Yeah, we don't know how long it's going to take, but it's all looking like it's going in the right direction. So hopefully we'll be able to investigate her case a little bit more soon, get a bit more information out there.
Yeah, it'll be really, really interesting to see, you know, how that police investigation went, you know, because I'd assume that the police would talk about their investigation and how they ruled out a third party being involved. And and you know that there's been nothing in the media regarding this whatsoever, so we're really excited to just actually find out what truly happened. And we still are trying to contact a few people over in Poland as well, just to find out what happened and also so that they can understand fully what was said in court as well in Georgia in the inquest. So it's good, bit of good news to end the session on, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. No, we're happy about that because, like I say, there's nothing out there at all about the inquest of her case. Just the fact that it come back that it was self-inflicted. So I think it's going to be really interesting to hear how they come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
And her movements, how they managed to find out her movements of that night. Was it just off the train tickets on the floor, or have they actually gone and got CCTV?
Yeah, to see if they actually spoke of the CCTV, like they might have covered, certain cameras that they looked at, and any cameras that cover the area nearby. They can't have a CCTV camera looking inside a hotel room window because that's illegal. But they might have had some cameras that covered the street, for instance, and it'll just be interesting to hear exactly how they ruled out third party.
And they might be able to, they might have explained if they had got CCTV of her movements. They might have explained how she was on those movements, whether she was looking behind her all the time. So we're hoping that that's all going to be in there as well.
Yeah, if she was running, or she seemed panicked, or she seems calm, or she went to the Polish embassy first, because we were talking about that, weren't we? So, maybe she was staying in that hotel because it was around the corner from the Polish embassy.
Amy, you're looking forward to that, girls. Have you got family in Poland? We do.
Yes. I have GI Joe. Well, GI Joe's like our super duper pocket rocket translator as well. So we're all good. So we can get hold of any information, whether it be in Polish or English, we can get it translated either way, which is great for us, so that we can get that. We just want to understand really what happened, because it sounds so tragic.
Yeah. For what happened, I feel there wasn't enough coverage of it.
It was dwarfed by Nicola Bulley's case, wasn't it? Certainly for us, we were looking into Nicola Bulley, and at that stage there was a lot of stuff coming out, in terms of I think it was a cop report.
Yeah.
And there was all this sort of happening, and then so Evelina's case sort of happened, and it kind of went under the radar a little bit. But we really think it's important to, not necessarily as an associated case from Nikki's, although it could, a lot of people believe it is. But just to find out what happened to the poor girl, and to find out, was somebody really after her, and did they check to see if anyone was following her from the train station, to where a hotel was? Did they check her phone records? Did she receive any other phone calls apart from, with the direct family? I'm just hoping that we get all these type of questions answered.
Yeah, it would be nice. I think a lot of people would appreciate knowing a lot more about this than what's out there at the moment.
There's like nothing out there, is there? There's literally, I think one journalist wrote a really good piece, and I've got to give him, I can't remember who it is, if it's him or her, but they wrote a really good piece, but then that got shared around a bit. They tend to share and get published by other newspapers, but it was fundamentally one piece that got written about her. So we just want to find out a little bit more. We just want to delve a little bit more deeply into what was going on.
Amy, amazing. My best friend's Polish, and she always sounds like she's giving it out to her mum when I hear them talk to each other. I know all the bad words. It does sound like they're being really aggressive when they talk, don't they, Amy? I understand a lot more Polish than what I can say, but I'm with you. I only know all the bad words. Yeah, I'm always saying them. I think I swear more in Polish now than what I do in English.
I had a work colleague, but like that as well, because she used to deal with all the Polish customers, and then she'd come off the phone and she'd call them naughty names, but in English as well. I've never seen anyone so aggressively peel an orange in my life. She's like, orange, and she's like, like throwing bits down. I was like, "You okay?" She's like, "Yes." I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Well, it's not that orange." So funny.
It's like, even when I answer yes, I'm always saying it in Polish. I've never, like, when someone talks to me, they ask me a question, I attack, and then I'm like, "Oh yeah, you don't understand that." Yes.
I think when you've got multi languages at home, isn't it? You speak a bit of a mixture, don't you?
Yeah, no, we do. I only don't.
We
like
speak a bit of
words.
Spanglish in our family, a bit of Spanish and English and Spanglish. It's like not like from Spanish, but it's Spain. But like I've got relatives that lived in Spain or still live in Spain, and then we all know Spanish. So you know, like I learned it when I was a teenager. But I can understand it. I can't really speak it so great, but I can understand it. But it's quite funny when you do, because people really look at me and they don't think I'd understand, and then you know, they realise I've just understood fully what they've said, and they're like, "Oh shit." We got in a taxi one time. There's me and 4 girls, and he turned around. One taxi driver turned around to another one, and he says, like he said, four British girls, aren't I lucky? He said in Spanish. So he gets in my taxi to drive, and I said, "Yeah, you've got 4 English girls in your taxi. You're very lucky." And he went, "Oh," and he was like, "Oh, you entiendo español." I was like. I was like trying to explain. I can understand it. Don't ask me to speak it. And then he just started talking to me about the prices of fuel and stuff in Britain compared to Spain.
Are you getting the notifications though, Catherine? Sorry, you've missed it again. Amy, she speaks to my 3-year-old in Polish, and she fully understands it. Plotted against me, so they are. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, it's so sweet though when they understand it at that age.
It's a life skill, isn't it? Them learning language at such a young age, isn't it? Because then they have that both those languages, don't they, for the rest of their life? Because they say for a child to pick up a language, it's a lot easier than us adults.
Oh yeah. So when I'm very tired, I even struggle to speak English, let alone Polish. I'm like, what am I going to say? But yeah. But no, it's only a short one tonight. I just wanted to cover that and give you the update on Evelina. But hopefully we should have that very, very soon. So that'll be good.
Oh, Katrina, I'm just trying to think how we can improve our notifications, so you don't miss us.
Yeah,
I know there's a couple of other people gone live tonight. I checked just before we went on, and I was like, "Oh craps!" But we'd already said we were going to go on at 9, so we just went with it. But you know, people can probably listen into this afterwards. So you know, leave your messages. We do watch messages and we do respond to the messages. You know, maybe if anyone has worked in a funeral place and you know knows a little bit more about it as well, let us know, we're still interested in this. But I think next time, hopefully, fingers crossed, all being well, we'll be having a good old chat about Evelina and giving you an update.
Yeah. And we do tend to go live. We've narrowed it down to pretty much every Saturday now, unless something's going on. But we'd always let you know if we can't go live.
Out the question. It'll never be on a Friday. Sundays are a bit difficult as well, aren't they? Because it's school the next day usually, isn't it? So Saturdays are quite good for us. And then sometimes we do a midweek one as well, don't we?
Yeah.
If you've got time.
But yeah, Silo's family, yeah. It's heartbreaking that Funky. I pray every day that he's going to be found, but
it just seems crazy now that the search is dying down now. As is the weather seems to be getting a bit better and the floods receding a little bit, and you know, like part of me like wishes that they just carry it on for a little bit longer, but then you kind of going a little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer. And I understand like that, you know, it's you do have to have a stop, don't you, eventually?
yeah.
I you know, so I'm not criticizing anyone, but I do for the family's sake hope that he does get found, whether it be by a formal search or by volunteers. I just still hope. I'm always an optimist, and I think, you know, it'd be so nice for him to be found so that at least he can be laid to rest, you know, by his family, who have been on an absolute roller coaster of emotions, haven't they?
Yeah. It must be awful for them.
And it must be gutting for, like, can you imagine all the police and Peter and all the organisations, all the voluntary organisations that have all been involved in this search, and you know, to spend all those hours searching and you know, not be able to find him, you know, that must be so soul destroying in a way. But you know, we all understand why, you know, we appreciate them for trying.
Yeah, you know, it must be a hard job for them.
Especially when we had a look at the floods and how far and wide the flooding was. And then if you look at all the branches underneath the water as well, which are snag hazards, aren't they, on a boat, let alone you know, on little Xylo as well. He's only tiny. You know, is it like needle in a haystack?
It is, especially with that river when you look at it.
Yeah.
All the little valleys that run off it.
That's it. Oh, it's just devastating. It really is. But I still pray that he just, you know, we get news that somebody somewhere comes across him, and you know, the family can, you know, say goodbye to him at least.
Yeah, lay him to rest.
Yeah.
Funky's asking.
Members live. Yeah. We might do that maybe one day next week.
Yeah, possibly Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think Wednesday's quite clear.
Yeah, Wednesday's good for me. I haven't got any birthdays or nothing on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about my daughter's birthday the other week. I was like, oops. She didn't mind. I said, do you mind? She said, no, it's all right. I think I only had her here, didn't I? And then having a sleepover at Nana's. So it was all right. She was just got happy chilling. But yeah, no, Wednesday's good to it, and then we can just sort of go through, you know, any updates on Evelina as well. Hopefully, we might know a little bit more by then as well.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
the conditions were so bad there, Jackie. They were, and the fast flowing river against him. It's just.
He was so tiny, wasn't he? You know, just thinking back to my two when they were that size and age and everything, you know, it just, oh God, it just beggars belief, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to find that, you know, in that amount of water.
Yeah, but
You
we
know,
keep praying every night.
adults,
Yeah, just keep
which would be
praying every
about
night
4
that
or
it be found.
5 times.
So, right. Okay, guys, well, enjoy the rest of your Saturday and the weekend.
Yay.
Next weekend's
Is
Easter,
anyone up to
isn't it?
anything good this weekend then? Are you up to anything?
I'm not.
Anyone going anywhere exciting? Having a drinky
No.
poo?
What this weekend? Is it next weekend? We've got the long weekend, haven't we? Because it's Easter.
Yeah. Oh,
And the
that's
clocks go forward. We
it's
lose an hour.
always for me. We lose an hour in bed. It's crap. I hate that. I was like, why can't I just leave the time alone? But yeah, I think might have to do something with the girls for Easter. I don't know what. Yeah. Oh God. My two are still like teenagers now, so they're just like, you know, an Easter egg. No, not
Okay, me show you off to Mario Kart now. Don't know yet.
Oh, it's a shame these sound effects are not working because they saved one, right? And it's called Mario Karts. Come on, guys, can I just practice something on you a minute? Tell me if you can hear this, because you couldn't, but
I couldn't hear it, no.
They've got a Mario Kart and a Mario Fart button. I noticed. Where is it? Right, where's the Mario Kart?
G.I. Joe, I need a Mario costume for that.
Oh, yeah, you'll have to get a Mario costume for driving your normal car.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
Like, what?
Or a couple of go-karts.
Just see if you can hear this, guys.
I heard it that time.
Can you hear that? No? Yes? Can anyone hear that?
I heard like a car.
They were singing Cotton Eye Joey was that one. It's just those buttons have got all weird sounds on it, but I don't know I can hear it dead loud on mine. My kids were going, "What are you doing, Mum?" I'm like, "Oh, I really don't want to know."
Like Indian man.
And there's one called a nuclear fart. No, I don't want to hear that one, do I? Can you hear it? Can you?
No.
Star Wars.
No, can't hear a thing.
No. Bloody hell. Oh. No, it's Star Wars, that is.
No, like the app that you're on.
All right. I just thought I'd play it to make you laugh and everything, but I'll have to try and find a way of locking it into playing it in when we're on a live.
Yeah.
That'd
be a way.
So right. Applause. Yes. But I hope tonight doesn't too more, but don't go to bed sleeping about it. Go and watch something fun and cool and funny and funky and, you know, just have a nice evening.
Yes, we shall see you in the week.
Yeah.
Right, good night all.
So, I think, when are we on that? We're going to do Wednesday then, and then Thursday. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
I think that sounds fine.
Yeah, we'll sort that one out, and then hopefully, you know, we should have more confident information about Evelina, and then we're also doing some other searches as well to try and get contact with some other people as well. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. Right. Have a nice weekend, guys, and we'll see you in the week.
Don't buy lots of chocolate in. Don't forget it's nearly Easter.
Yes, lots of Easter eggs. Remember, you can have chocolate for breakfast as well, because it's Easter.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes. Right. Take care, all. Good night.
Yeah, take care. Sleep, sweet dreams. Night night.